Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go!
Welcome back to the DK Project. Coming to you with a special guest today, Lisa Foiles, actor, voice actor, singer, dancer, holy resume, Batman.
I also play a mean foosball, so I didn't incorporate that in the bio. It didn't seem professional, but
well,
watch out for me when I'm a goalie.
Let me add it to your Wikipedia here. Hey, speaking of which, there's a comedian. It's escaping my name, but that's her thing is foosball.
Really?
Yeah, like she does like a podcast and they play foosball while they're rapping. Yeah, it'll come to me. You know, I hit a roadblock today. I was out doing something and I knew this name and it just kept, I couldn't, it's right there. I couldn't reach it. And then I think I made it up. I think it's a Rockefeller. I think I'm going Rockefeller. And so I was in this neighborhood and the one neighbor had told me one time, hey, there's a heir to the Rockefellers who lives there, I think. And now I was at the house across the street and she goes, I don't know, you mean Carrie? I'm like, well, I think you'd know if it was a Rock. Come on. Anyway, side note. But that's good to know because foosball, I'm more of a ping pong or badmintoner myself, but to each their own.
Yeah.
One of us
ping pong's good too, but
one of us could be in the Olympics.
More condensed,
Yeah.
One of us could be in the Olympics. One of us can't. Right?
Well, fine.
Yeah.
Jeez. How's it not Olympic foosball? What's going on with that?
Well, give it 4 years. It'll be there. Everything's going to be an Olympic sport. Podcasting will be an Olympic sport before you know it. Speaking of which, I've got a 15-year-old and now we got a badminton net. He's convinced he's going to the Olympics and I just don't have the heart to tell him maybe it's not going to happen.
One day.
Someday. So what's happening in Lisa's...
That's good exercise, though. I love badminton. Back when I grew up in Spokane, Washington. Like, I was born in Portland and grew up in Spokane, and so I'm from the Pacific Northwest. And so I was used to always having, like, a really big backyard and just grass everywhere. And I always loved every summer when we set up the badminton nets because I could just, like, run and sprint. And now I live in Vegas, where my backyard is a lot smaller and keeping grass is nearly impossible.
Well, so
you
really want to be outside.
Our grass dies like once a year and then we try to revive it in the fall. And then during the summer, we're just like, it's going to die. But
How long have you been in Vegas?
About 7 years.
And are you working there or is it just where you wanted to live? Do you have a show?
Yeah. So I was living and working in Los Angeles, obviously, because I'm an actor and that's where everything is, or so I thought. But I was finding that while I was living there, even before all the COVID stuff, everything seemed to kind of be going on tape. Like auditions were like, send in a self-tape. We don't necessarily want you to come in person and read, like just send us an audition tape and send it in. And that was happening so much. And my husband had lived in Vegas before and he really liked it out here. And we knew there was like, a smaller entertainment industry out here, but a lot of live productions. And I mean, it's the entertainment capital of the world. So you can't just count it out when it comes to the entertainment world. So we decided that we were sick of living in a tiny little, $1,500 a month studio apartment in LA that was just barely one room. And we wanted to buy like a big house and have a yard. And so we moved out to Vegas and so I work out here. I work on a lot of local projects. I'm always doing like commercials and like modeling and, there's some TV shows and movies that come through here, but mostly when I book stuff, it's in LA and I just drive back and forth. So I kind of have it all,
Wow.
That's great.
That's great.
And I can have the house and the family and the dog and everything. And then, can't really have a golden retriever in the studio apartment.
That's right.
In Burbank, but here she loves it.
This sounds like a Hallmark movie that's coming together. I love it. That's awesome.
Movies.
So I was going through your bio and I saw some UFC stuff on here.
Yes.
What can you tell me? This is a show about UFC?
Well, I don't do it anymore. I did do it. So I hosted a show that was called the UFC Minute. And gosh, how long did that run? I want to say like 4 years or something like that.
Very nice.
yeah, so I shot and produced it and hosted it.
Oh, wow.
On my own.
Wow.
But it was through the UFC. So the UFC hired me, and they would write daily scripts about like, you know, who's dropped out of this fight, who's the newest person that the UFC has signed. You know, we've just announced this title fight or this card coming up. And then I would get, you know, injuries was a big one. Like, who just broke their leg? Like, we got to tell the world right now. So they would send me a script in the morning, and then I would have about 1 hour to film it and turn it around, produce it, add the B-roll, turn it into a nice little package, and then send it off to them. And then they would publish it on the website and on YouTube. And that was a lot of fun, especially because I knew nothing about the UFC before I did it. Mm-hmm. Like they just wanted somebody local here in Vegas. And who could do all of that. And I'm like, I can try to do that. But I started out not really knowing much about the sport to then knowing everything about the sport. So I'm not as up to date on all of it now, since I haven't done it for a couple of years. But man, when I was doing it, I knew like every fighter, I knew every fight coming up. I knew the insight, like the personalities of all of them. So that was really fun to have my opinion changed, you know, because when I first saw it, I was like, the UFC is grotesque, monstrous. Yeah. These guys are just mean to each other and punch each other in the face. Like, this is barbaric. Like, who would watch this? And then I became a huge fan of the sport, and I still love it. And
I love watching it. It's great. It's so much fun to watch. It's a great little party. Everyone always wants to go hang out and watch UFC that I know. It's always like a little party to come and join to see. So it's nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Why are you shaking your head? What
happened to you? What's wrong with you?
They have that on at a restaurant, man. I'm like, I can't turn it off.
Why? It's so much fun to watch.
You know what? I did a long series with a YouTube channel for the UFC, and I wanted to get your take on these names. I mean, who are we kidding? Yeah. I can't tell you how many retakes I had to do for Nurmagomedov or whatever.
Nurmagomedov?
Yes. Yep. And they'd send it to me, and I'm like,
Joanna Jędrzejczyk, all of these. Yeah, I know. I had to learn all the pronunciations. In fact, they had somebody on staff who, anytime like a new fighter was signed, they made them read their name into a recorder, so that like John Anik and Joe Rogan and all of us, like, we knew how to pronounce their names.
That's smart.
Yeah. So we heard it right from the fider themselves.
They did send me some of those from time to time on how that would work. But I just, oh my gosh, it's like if there's a Johnson or an Anderson, you aren't getting in the UFC. It just isn't going to happen. So I
John Jones is an easy one. We always love when we talk about John Jones. We're like, okay,
I'll do the Jones fight. So have you met Joe Rogan? That's the real question.
I've not met Joe Rogan. He exclusively did and does the pay-per-view events, the live events. I never worked the live events. I only did all the pre-stuff. So I would interview fighters beforehand. I mostly just delivered the news, you know, in quick little 1 minute spoonfuls every single day. So when it came to the actual event, they usually just gave me tickets, and I could just go and enjoy myself and not have to worry about the working the event
gig.
Part of it.
Did you?
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Or you just had the right address?
Yeah, it was an awesome gig, and I always said that I would have done it for the rest of my life, but they did a whole like redo of the website and like a rebrand of everything. And just the way the internet was shifting, like the 1 minute video format, which was working really well, just didn't really make sense in their new format, which is good because I ended up getting really busy with other stuff. So it was kind of like the perfect time to part ways. And then knowing that like a year later, COVID would have hit anyway, and the show would have for sure gotten canceled. So like it worked out really well.
Wow, that's so cool. So you've done a whole list of stuff, including Malcolm in the Middle. And are you what shows and what stuff are you on right now?
So here's a really cool thing also that I need to talk about. So I was on all that for 4 years. This Nickelodeon show is like Saturday Night Live for kids. If you don't know about it, then like, what rock have you been living under? Because it was on for 10 years.
It was a great show.
It was on
great.
For 10 years.
I love that one.
And then you've clearly been, that's like a rock texture behind you. I see that you're like in a cave. You're like in a bat cave.
I like to look amazing.
So the show was on for 10 years. And then they just rebooted it and brought it back for another 2 years. I don't know what the status is of it now. With going through COVID, we don't know the status of a lot of shows. But they have a whole new cast of kids, and they brought me back recently to guest star on 3 episodes, which was really, really cool. It was a great feeling to be invited back to the show that was like my home. I was on the show for 4 years. So, that's like going to college. You go to college for 4 years, So I had a great time actually being a cast member on the show, and then to be invited back so many years later as like veteran guest star. The new cast was like looking up to me the way I had looked up to Keenan and Kel and Amanda Bynes and all of that. So it was just a really cool changing of the guard type of experience.
You gotta love that when you get a call back. Like from something that you've worked on for a long time, that kind of gives you that assurance that, hey, I was good at what I did, and they want me back to fill this role. That's kind of cool. That's always an honor to get that call. And I think what you're explaining makes me feel older. That's why Kristen can relate. You guys are probably in the same demographic.
I loved all that. I loved Keenan and Kel growing up. I loved all that. It was a great show. So I don't even know what that is.
Keenan and Kel?
I was like, I'll keep you up to. I'll inform you what it is later on.
Under a rock.
So Kristen, I agree with you. I was the biggest fan of the show even before I became an actor. That's like a cool story for me is like, I have these, I don't even know where they are, but somewhere there are little cassette tapes, recordings of me and my best friend in her bedroom doing impressions of all of the old All That characters. Like
I love it.
Lori Beth in the library and Repairman. Like we would do our own impressions of it. And that was way before I ever moved to LA and became an actor. So then when I got the call to actually audition for the show that I was so obsessed with, it was, and then to book it.
That's like a dream come.
It was a total dream come true. And then again, to be invited back to the new cast, it's just, I got to experience like so much cool stuff with just one show. And recently I did another Nickelodeon show called Danger Force, which is a spinoff of a show called Henry Danger. I got to play a villain in the season finale that just aired a couple weeks ago. So that was pretty fun. So yeah, it's tricky these days for actors in this.
Yeah,
there just needs to be a signal. I don't even want to say like in this COVID, the new normal. Like, I hate that so much. It just needs to be. We just need to be like in the,
Yeah.
So we kind of just take what we can get, and every self-tape that comes along, a chance to audition and send an audition tape. It's very few and far between. So we just try to do our best in this landscape.
I know. I feel like COVID's never going to go either. It keeps on coming more and more and more. I'm just like,
I'm going to a convention tomorrow with probably 1,000 people. I'm like,
you mean you're going to leave your cave? But your cave is safe, right?
Once I push the rock off my back.
Yep.
I got to go out and hang with my peeps and try and meet some new peeps. That's the whole goal. But I also wanted to hear about the Xbox. You're not doing the Xbox thing anymore, but you were I don't even know how to say that, but I love the idea of being involved with the Xbox stuff. You were the lead voice. How do you say that?
Loco Cycle.
Loco Cycle
was the name. Loco Cycle, like crazy motorcycle, Loco Cycle. So I was in the gaming industry for many years because I had kind of taken a break from living in LA. I had moved back to Portland where I was born, and a lot of my friends up there were really into gaming, and I kind of just fell into that world and started doing like video game reviews and making making videos about video games and going to these conventions like E3 and PAX and all these really fun, Comic-Con type of events. And so I was really submerged in that world. Like that was everything to me. It was video games, very big. And then just being in that world, I was contacted by this great production company, gaming production company called Twisted Pixel. And they had a small game called Splosion Man. And they had a sequel called Missplosion Man. And they wanted to see if I could do the narration for it. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And then after I worked with them on that game, they brought me on to be the lead voice in Loco Cycle, which was, it was so much fun. I'd never done a voiceover like that for a video game. So just to have video games are interesting, right? Because you have a lot of choices. It's like if you push this button, you get this option.
Right.
The character's going to say this. You push B and they're going to say something totally different. So a lot of, some branching dialogue options. You record it this way, you record it this way. It was a lot of fun. I would definitely love to do it again.
Like I'm a voiceover guy, and I just haven't done any games yet. I'm more of an animation guy.
Yeah. So they flew me to Austin. Wow. I want to say maybe for like a week. And I had worked with the VO studio down there before, so I knew everybody already. It was a very comfortable environment. I didn't have to like take a lot of time to get warmed up to it. Man, just a couple days. Okay. Man, yeah.
Okay.
It's
on my list.
So much fun.
I haven't done it yet, but I'm close, real close.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Have you what do you have currently out there besides Danger Force? You got some other hot ones that are in the hopper, or did the COVID like now we're all caught up? Like now we got to film some stuff and get it into production because everybody was off for a little while.
Yeah, we're not caught up. It's still dragging. It's still.
Is it really?
There are still a lot of actors that are not working and really trying to get jobs. It's a bit of a crisis for a lot of us out there.
Are you finding the same thing that I do with voiceover? Like there's 5,000 people that audition for what used to be, 1,000. Now there's well, everybody's home not working. I might as well throw an audition.
Yeah. It's funny. Voiceover has always been very tricky. I remember even when I was younger, I was with, a great voiceover agency in LA, and I went out for a lot of cartoons, but, it was tricky because I was under 18. And so they would like to book people over 18 who could sound under 18. So the whole working laws and everything. So I struggled trying to get jobs when I was super, super young. And then, as I kept kind of dipping my toe, voiceover. I love voiceover. It's not my all-time favorite because I like on-camera work. But I do adore voiceover, but it was very clear that it's a very small community. The same people work over and over and over. And so it is very hard to break into that. And so now even more so, like you're saying, it's still, you already have a tight community, and now you have 10 times more people trying to jump into it, into that tiny pool, because that's all we can do is record things from home. But thankfully, like I said, out in Vegas, it's a much smaller market. And I know a lot of great people out here who work for production. And so I've gotten a lot of great VO jobs out here. In fact, I am the official voice of MGM Resorts International.
Hey,
out here.
That's awesome. Nice.
So,
welcome to MGM.
It's a great gig, but at the same time, I kind of ruin everybody's party right now, because you walk into any MGM resort
you're the COVID
right
announcer.
now, any of them on the strip, which is half of them on the strip, and my voice comes on every 10 minutes and tells people to put a mask on and social distance and per Nevada state law.
I love it.
I list off all these things that you have to do, and I end it with "thank you" and "have a wonderful day."
So now when you're at the supermarket, they're like, "Oh, you're that lady. Go."
Yeah, girl.
I've heard this voice before.
Yeah. I just can't
In fact, it's so funny. The guy, this great guy, audio engineer named James Von Bolt, he works in town, and he works at this great audio studio called Monster Sound and Picture. And he's the one that actually recorded all of my VO for that. I had to do separate ones for all the different hotels. And every time a new mandate came along, I had to then record another one and another one and another.
Yeah,
so I was going into the video booth constantly in 2020. Wow. But now he got a side gig working at one of the casinos. So now he hears my voice every 10 minutes, and he'll always send me a recording and be like, "I would not have recorded you if I would have known. I would have had to listen to you every 10 minutes." It's annoying.
That
just brings me joy.
That's a big get is MGM. I mean, you must do other stuff for him, not just the pesky mask lady, are you?
Yes. So I recorded all of the welcome messages for the garages, the welcome to Luxor, please pull forward. And then, as you're exiting, and a couple little things here and there, whenever they need something read awesome professionally by a nice, friendly sounding female, then they give me a call. So that's a great gig. But that's not like as exciting. I'm sure you're looking for like exciting projects. People don't really care about parking lot greetings.
In my under the rock world, that's exciting. I like parking lot
You're
lady.
just like, God, tell me more.
That's in my wheelhouse. I love it.
But for the viewers who care more about fun things, I just did a couple of months ago, but it's still worth talking about because it was awesome. One of my favorite projects ever debuted on YouTube called Stuff of Legends.
Yes,
and this is for all of the D&D players out there. Joshua Ovenshire from Smosh Games, formerly of Smosh Games, he put together this amazing production with Wizards of the Coast. Not Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast. Yeah. The whole Dungeons and Dragons company like sponsored it. And basically he brought me and 3 other people to a big round table in an actual castle. We went to the Hollywood Castle.
Nice. And,
set dress with smoke and all sorts of dramatic things. And we played a round of D&D over 6 episodes, not really knowing what we were doing. So a lot of comedy ensues.
Nice.
But the fun twist on it is that after we recorded it, he then had a professional puppet making company turn all of our characters into actual puppets, like puppets.
That's amazing. That's
and
so
then,
cool.
Yes. So then they would take all of the action sequences and like us talking to each other and act it out with the puppets, like on a green screen with props. So every once in a while it'll cut from us to our puppets, going on the adventure. They'll take quotes from me and like the puppet will say it. And it turned out so well. It's called Stuff of Legends. So
okay.
What is there, like
if you know about D&D or if you're interested in D&D, like go check it out. It's awesome.
That sounds amazing. That sounds dope.
Are you in?
It is.
That sounds dope.
I say dope all the time. Why are you?
Thank you.
God, I'm
hater.
so old.
He's such a hater.
You know what?
Maybe in your cave rock.
You know what?
Domain, the slang doesn't like come to you, but like dope is back in style. Rad is back in style.
Yep. So true.
It's all back.
I always say facts all the time too. Facts is like I'll say dope or facts. Facts.
I said word the other day. I'm like word.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm trying to bring back whack. I miss whack.
Hey,
like
what is fax? Like we used to send faxes.
There's a fact. Oh, fact. Shut up. I was like, what?
What are you trying
to do? He's trying.
You're trying. Facts. Like true story. Like facts. Like these are actual facts. F-A-C-T-S. Facts.
Okay,
yeah, not facts.
Okay. I'm telling you, you were getting into my era then. Facts. I get it. So, okay. Okay. But so are you a Dungeons and Dragons player? Or do you just...
Not on the regular, but I have played several times just with friends for fun, like little one-offs. I make guest appearances on D&D games on the internet. Sometimes there's a great tabletop RPG called Blackbirds that recently had me come on to kind of play test the game with other YouTubers. And so I'm definitely not a professional. I don't know all the ins and outs. I hate math. So you do all my adding. If I rolled this number and I have to add this many to it, you do it. You do it, and then I'll just
see. Because when I was young is when Dungeons and Dragons came out. That's got to be forever ago. And I'm like,
back when our parents all told us it was like satanic and evil.
Yep.
Yeah. I wish I could go back in time and talk to my parents because it's not. It's just having fun and acting. Yeah. It's just acting and playing make believe.
Yep.
And see, I never got into it far enough to even know that. I just remember the kids that did it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Like those are different people.
Yeah, dorks.
It's been around forever. It just doesn't go away, which is awesome for you. I got to say, we've interviewed a lot of people on the show, but you've got kind of a interesting collaboration of things you've done. Like these are, you don't even think about it. Like like the parking lot.
You're so versatile.
Or yeah.
That's
exactly quite a range.
She's like, yes, thank you.
Stop, please.
Here's how you can get a hold of me.
Hey everyone, wanted to talk to you a little bit about insurance. Insurance is one of the things everybody has, although not many know what to look for, and just look at price. Well, if you want to buy insurance from a cartoon lizard, remember that in the event of an accident. Or you can have Wiser Insurance on your side. With over 26 years of experience, Wiser Insurance Agency can assess your risk and make recommendations that are the best thing for you. Because they have 22 companies to choose from. Working with an independent agent is key because needs change, and so do rates and coverages. So ask yourself, do I want a local friendly guy in my corner, or do I want 1-800-LIZARD on my side? It's pretty obvious, guys. Go with the local with all the options. Wiser Insurance Agency. If you're with one of the big gorillas, what we call captive agents, you don't get options. They offer you what's best, whether it fits you or not. That's all they have. Where Wiser can look at different companies and find out where the best fit for you is. And maybe that changes, then they can change it. Because they have 22 companies to offer, one of them being Auto Owners Insurance. So give the boys a call at 952-472-3660 or look them up on the web at wiser-ins.com. Hey everybody, guess who's hiring? The Hair Studio in Chaska. If you know a professional stylist who's ready to make a move and lives in that Chaska, Southwest Metro area, be sure to give the Hair Studio in Chaska a call, 952-368-0900. They do it all from cut, color, perm, primp, whatever your needs are. Now that the pandemic's over, they're busy. They need to add some more stylists, so give them a call or stop in at the Mill Building, 500 North Pine Street in Chaska, Minnesota, 952-368-0900. The career of your dreams could be waiting just down the road. Be sure to check it out. Great location, great people, great clientele. Tell them you heard about it on the project.
What is Bound to Work?
Bound to Work, that is I had a very, very small role in that. It's a new film by my friends at Deep Red Productions in Cork, Ireland. Ooh. They have I don't know if you've been to Ireland.
Oh,
You've been there?
No, yeah. I have a best friend from
Cork,
Galloway. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. Cork is like south. I believe Cork's the second biggest city in Ireland. And I met these guys through a music video that I had done. And they've been just, plowing ahead through all the COVID stuff. They're like, we're not going to let it stop us. We're going to still produce movies and produce short films, and with a really tight turnaround. So they wrote this it's a comedy that takes place in Cork. So it's very, it's very Irish comedy. So I don't know if a lot of it's going to transfer to like an American audience, but it's super funny if you get the lingo and you get the Irish humor.
So can you do the language?
Can I speak Irish Gaelic?
Yeah.
No, I cannot.
That's why your part got smaller, right?
But I just did a voiceover for them. They have a scene where one of the guys is hoping to win the lottery, and he gets it's the trials and tribulation of this guy just trying to get like a couple $1,000, I think, for a ridiculous reason, and just how he gets it and then loses it, loses it back through the whole movie. And at one point it's a very dramatic scene with like the lottery ticket. And I'm the lottery announcer that you hear on the TV, but I improv'd almost the entire thing. So I just went so wacky and crazy with it. Like they gave me the lines and they're like, feel free to like do what you want with it. And I'm like, don't say that. Don't say that.
You might eat your words.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I read it straight the way they wanted it. And then I read it straight again with a little more character. And then I gave them the wackiest, most like drunk, crazy lottery announcer. Oh my God. Just like crazy. And they loved it. And so I think that's the take they're going to use. So I'm excited. I don't know the, where they're at in it. I know they're in post, but I don't know when it's going to be the same.
I've done a lot of auditions for the lottery. And I've never tried the drunk angle, and I've never gotten the part. So I'm going to step it up.
Try it.
I'm going to step up.
Yeah, I just turned into this character that was like, what if she's like recently divorced and she's like a little tipsy, and like whoever wins the lottery, she's going to like try to flirt with them and like, come on over, sweetie. Like, congratulations, come buy me a yacht. Yay. I just went really far into that character, thinking that they were going to be like, okay, very funny, but like, don't ever do that again. But I like it, so.
Get it under control. What about national championship titles for tap dancing?
Yes, this is like a fun. It's become a fun fact about me.
Yeah.
I don't have my floor
you can't
mic'd
even
up,
see
but
your
you can
feet.
hear
It
it.
just kind of looks like you're like hoedown, doing a hoedown.
More
this has kind of
hillbilly.
become like a fun fact because I don't really have the opportunity to do it anymore. But I was a national champion tap dancer. I danced competitively for over 20 years. That was just like my thing, like tap dancing, just something about it just clicked. And it was just a natural talent that I had. And I went all over the United States and Canada and won over like 200 first place trophies and like 3 of those like crowns. You know? A couple of trophies are like 5 feet tall. And
so
yeah, but it's sad. I don't really get to do it anymore. Like tap isn't really in style, I guess.
Is it
like when am I going to tap?
Is it like a bike where if you had to right now, you could lay it down? Like,
yes. So it's funny you say that. So I did it for so many years and then, acting took off and voiceover and just everything and just never, and it just wasn't practical to like do tap anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Vegas is kind of a different story. There's a couple amazing tap dancers here in Vegas and they show up every once in a while. We have these variety shows. One of them's called like Rose Rabbit Lie. I don't know if that one's around anymore, but there's a couple, Absinthe. I'm sure you heard of Absinthe. Some of these shows where it's like, it's one production, but it's also a variety show where they have like a girl doing silks and like another girl in like the hula hoops and like a roller skating couple and like acrobats and all sorts of stuff. And every once in a while in these variety shows, there'll be a tap dancer. And I'm just like on the edge of my seat. Like, no, everybody else is like, oh, that's so nice. And I'm just like,
I could do that.
I could do that.
But you're talking about like traditional, not like the Irish thing or whatever it is, right? Like
no, not Irish step, just regular tap, like Savion Glover back. It was back when Savion was popular, like bringing the noise, bringing the funk, like that in that era. That's when I was doing tap. It was really popular and everybody loved it. It's not so much anymore. So recently I saw, like last year, like I saw one of these variety shows in the tap dancer and I was like, you know what? I miss it so much. So I just did a couple drop-in tap classes around the corner at the Rock Dance Studio here in Vegas, which is like the best dance studio in Nevada. And it really was like riding a bike. Like it just, I picked it right back up.
Exercise,
I was really proud of myself.
Yeah,
great exercise.
I was
great
in,
cardio.
Actually, ironically, here's a callback. I was in Ireland at a thing in this huge castle, and part of the entertainment was they brought in like Irish dancers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like holy crap! That's different level exercise right there. I don't understand how it can be done, but my daughter did tap as like what you did. Not at that level, it doesn't sound like, but what an interesting deal. It's not common at all, but
no,
it with the world. Do you have like a little shrine somewhere with all that stuff? Like
my mom has like all my trophies in a warehouse in Idaho somewhere where she lives.
I feel like all of our moms have our trophies. Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with 200 trophies? Like,
just for the record,
marble off the bottom
doesn't have any. We don't. I'd like to say she didn't keep them, but there just weren't any. I think that you yourself should personally one person show in Vegas, hammering out the tap, because you sing and play guitar, right? Why don't you just do your own show?
Do. Yeah.
Come on.
This is dorky. I don't know. Why would I be like, okay, for my next number, I'm going to perform "Singing in the Rain" by Dean Kelly.
How was learning the guitar? Because I have a guitar. I haven't practiced like recently, but it's very hard. And I know Darren is trying. He has a guitar and he's learning, or he's trying to learn how to do it. It's very hard. Like you have to have like, I don't think I have like long enough like fingers to do anything.
You do. A lot of people think that, but I know you do. So I have kind of an obsessive personality. You need to know this about me first. I'm not normal. I literally just like woke up one day and was like, I'm going to play the guitar. And then I did it. So I know that that's not normal.
No, that's amazing, actually.
So my husband had just always had a guitar. I had fussed around on bass guitar years ago. Like I liked bass guitar. I have great rhythm because of dancing, because of tap. But guitar just always scared me. I'm like, there's so many strings. Like this seems really hard. But I was just absolutely determined. And I followed JustinGuitar. So I don't know if you follow like an online, but I tried out a lot of different.
Okay, that's now.
Yes, you must do JustinGuitar. He's by far the best. There are a lot of guitar teachers online, a lot of tutorials, like YouTube videos. His website and the way that he teaches and how gentle he is and how like he teaches you just what you need to know. Like he doesn't get too much into the theory right at the beginning. He's just like, do this and here's how you practice. Like, it's just, I love the way he teaches. And I just followed everything he said to a T for months. And honestly, the chording isn't the hardest. It's the pain. Like when you first learn, my fingers burned all day. Even when I wasn't playing, you just felt them like throbbing.
Right.
If you,
well, you're really selling this to us.
No, but what I'm saying is that I'm warning you. I'm warning you that that's a short period of time. That's a short little hill. It's a steep hill, but it's short. So if you can get over that little pain,
stoop,
yes, work through it. If it hurts, do it more. Like not till you bleed. Like not like don't be Jack White or whatever. But like if it hurts, do it more because one day you will wake up and you will have no more pain. And it makes it so easy and so fun. Once the pain stops, it's the most fun world ever. I love the guitar as an instrument. I really feel like it kind of hugs you back. That's weird to say.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you're like, it becomes like an extension of you. And especially if you like to sing, I mean, you're accompanying yourself. You know, I wrote a couple songs pretty early on just because I started to understand the chord progressions and I love it. I recommend it to anybody. I don't think anybody's ever too old to learn the guitar. Like not even you.
Well, that was a throw at me. And I'm back. I lost my hair early. This isn't age. Hey,
I'm just
tell me this. I want to jump off on a different subject here that's kind of interesting to me. Okay. You were homeschooled.
Yeah.
So is that your whole school, or like did you do your high school in high school, or were you homeschooled the whole way? Is this
no? I was on all that for like my entire high school.
Okay, so you couldn't go to high school. It wasn't like
so I always say that my cast members are like your it's classmates? Like whenever I see them, it's like a high school reunion because they were like
okay.
Okay. No, so I was homeschooled off and on my entire education. So I would go to traditional school for like 4th grade, and then I'd be homeschooled for like 5th and 6th, and then go back for like half of 7th and back. So I kind of went back and forth, but I very much preferred homeschooling again because I'm crazy. So you have to have.
You're not crazy.
Somehow just born with self-motivation. This is, I know this is not normal because, and maybe homeschooling kind of helped nurture that because my mom would make a deal with me. She'd be like, look, here's the deal. I know you don't want to learn and do school because you want to go play, but if you can get all of your schoolwork done by noon every day, you can have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. So I'm like, okay. So I'd wake up early every day, just nose to the grindstone, just get all of my stuff done and then have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. And that has stayed with me my whole life. Like I never need anyone to motivate me. Every single day I'm thinking about what I can do to further my career. It's just, that's become fun for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't wake up thinking like, oh, what like show can I watch today? Like what, can I do a puzzle? Can I go shopping? I literally think like, what can I do today to like get further in my career? Like who can I email? What can I write? Can I write something? Like, oh, I'm going to go practice guitar. Everything I do, I want it to further me and my career in some way.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I know it's weird, but that's just no, it's not weird. I really do attribute that to homeschool.
That's awesome. I think I was going another angle on the homeschool, but it sounds like
I'm weird.
You had it for good reasons. Not one of those. Tell me about singing the anthem at the baseball games. I've got a thing coming up where I got to be on stage and I got to talk and.
Oh.
I mean, I can work a bar like it's my backyard, but an audience of 1,000 people. I don't know if this changes, but you're talking 50, 30,000 people, and you're singing.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. If that tells you anything.
Is that because they're not calling or because you had a little breakdown?
No, because I did it 3 times and that was enough. It's hard. It's really hard because people don't realize this delay. the delay with the speakers in the ballpark.
Mhm.
Like you sing a word and then you hear yourself sing it 2 seconds later. It's impossible.
Wow.
It's
That's
so hard.
Yeah.
And I was pretty young when I was doing it. So I would always pick the organ player if I had a choice. So like, especially like at Angels Stadium, they would say, do you want to sing it acapella or do you want to use the organ player? And I would always pick the organ player because then you have the musical reference. But man, Dodgers was like brutal. Obviously it's fun. It's all fun. I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
That being said, singing with a delay is, I mean, you do voiceover, like you get it. It's so hard.
No, I totally, but I do voiceover so that I can sit here in my cave and not have to be in front of people. And you know what I mean? And like I have to get used to it. I have some stuff coming up or whatever. That's, you know, and part of it is like, you want to tackle that fear, blah, 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 blah. But walking into a stadium but you're a singer, so obviously you're comfortable with that. So then really it's just, but nobody has ever said anything about the delay, but that makes total sense because.
Yeah, maybe they fixed it since then. I don't know. All I remember is that at Dodger Stadium specifically, I don't think it was as bad at Angels Stadium, but at Dodgers specifically, and I did a Sparks game, like LA Sparks too. And I think that was fine. But I just remember at the time, like it makes you sing slower because you're like trying to catch up to yourself. I didn't do a bad job. Like I did fine, but it still messed with my head and there's no way to prepare. You know, it's like, oh, I'm going to go practice for singing at Dodger Stadium by going and singing at a stadium. You can't really do that. You practice in your house and then you go to the stadium. So I will not do it anymore, but it was fun when I did.
That's very, I've never, you know, but I've never talked to anybody who's done it at that level, obviously, because it's only a select few of you out there who have knocked that one down. I couldn't imagine. I wouldn't even be able to do it. So what do you got coming up? What can we plug for you? What's the latest, greatest happening in your world?
I'm actually doing a lot of writing at the moment. I have some projects in the works that I cannot talk about because
then it doesn't work for this segment.
They're still in like the script stage. But I would say the biggest thing is my book that I wrote a middle grade novel. So it's a kids fiction fantasy novel. Perfect age would be like between 8 and 15, I think. But obviously adults who love dragons and fantasy characters and wizards and magic and all sorts of stuff like that, which is stuff I love, can also enjoy it. It's called Ridley and the Phoenix. It was a long time in the making, and I had a lot of bad luck with its debut because it debuted in April of 2020. And so all of my appearances got canceled and all of my book tour stuff. And I was going to go talk to kids and there was this whole thing planned and it all got canceled because of COVID. And that was a dream of mine since I was little, was to have this novel be released, go on the book tour, do the whole thing. So it still had a great release. I mean, it's still like it sold out on a lot of websites day one. Amazing. And but it's on Amazon. It's on a lot of local bookstore websites, like indie bookstores. Obviously, you know, support your local bookstores. But yeah, Ridley and the Phoenix, it's a lot like the first Harry Potter book. And, you know, with the holidays coming up, it's a great Christmas present for any young reader in your life. So please pick up a copy. It's only like 10 or 15 bucks, depending on,
it's not,
you know, where you buy it.
It's amazing. Good for you.
Lisa's got kids she's got to put through college. So get out there and buy the book. Give us the name again. Say that.
Ridley and the Phoenix.
I like the name.
And the Phoenix.
The bird, yeah.
Good name.
Wow, it is a great name.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very
So is there going to be a follow-up? Is there another book?
I would love to write a sequel. The only problem is that I wrote the first one before I had 2 small children. And now I can barely write an email without kids.
There is that. But
so like,
before you
I don't know. I have to like take a vacation and like go back to Ireland for a month. I'm like, I'm writing my sequel. Like, don't bother. Make your own toast. You're making your toast today.
That's you know, it's funny because it's difficult. But like, I'm taking one to college tomorrow, and I'm taking one to college on Monday. So it goes fast. So put the book on hold. But I was thinking, why don't and I don't know how the whole process works. But since it was like a 2020 launch with the COVID card, why wouldn't you just do a relaunch or like a, hey, now we're going to do it? Not that it's that much better right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could, but yeah, like you said, it's not really better right now. I mean, it's a big thing that I wanted to do is go to schools, was visit schools and visit kids, because this is the type of genre that inspired me to become an actor, which kind of launched my entire career. It was reading these books about like kids and dragons and going on these magical adventures and, you know, finding their potential and being a misfit and a fish out of water, like all of these fantasy novels are what sparked my creativity and made me want to do theater and do acting. And so I kind of wanted to pay it forward and like, you know, talk about this book to kids who were just like me and encourage them to read it and go to do theater and get out there. And, you know, so that was like my big goal. And I just don't think visiting schools is a reality right now.
No.
So.
No, I don't even know about kids going to school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But my fans have been absolutely incredible. Buying the book, spreading the word, writing me reviews. Oh my gosh, I'm just so thankful. They've sent me videos of them like unboxing it. I mean, like I cry every single time I get a message from anybody who, you know, they'll screen cap their review and send it to me on Twitter. And I'm just it means so much to me, you know?
That's
like a lot of acting stuff you record it, you wait a couple of months, and then it airs on TV like once. You're like, okay, that was exciting. And then it, you know, kind of over. And then with YouTube, you know, you upload it, people see it immediately, and then it's kind of over. But like with the book, it was such a long time in the making. And so
it's your baby.
Of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yep. It's your baby. Yeah.
That's
right.
Awesome.
It's your baby.
Exactly right.
So, so where can people find you on Instagram, Twitter? Where's your hotbed? You frequent one over the other?
I'm mostly on Instagram these days. That's what I like the most. It's just, you can just Google my name, Lisa Foiles. It'll all come up. I'm on Facebook as well, Lisa Foiles Official. But I don't do TikTok. I don't have time for that.
Wow.
So I'm mostly just on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So
I'm not a fan of TikTok. It's not I'm not into TikTok at all. I don't get it. Like, it's just not who. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm good. It's many years too late. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was get my friends together and like do choreographed dance. Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I'm like, come on, let's like do a show for the neighborhood. And they're like, no one would ever do it. And that's like all kids are doing is just like doing these little like dance with all their friends. And I'm like, dang it. Around when I was 15.
Right. Missed your window. I know how that goes.
I did miss my window.
I'm not a big TikToker either. Hard for you to believe, right?
Yeah.
Although we had Adam Wiley on last week.
The internet in there.
We had Adam Wiley on last week. He's a huge TikTok guy. Monster following. He does magic tricks on there.
Nice.
To each their own.
I love
To each
magic.
their own. Hey, have you been to the Magic Castle?
I have been to the Magic Castle. Yeah.
Look at her. Look at her smile. I have been to the Magic.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
I know.
Yeah,
I
had a great time.
I actually just sent Adam an email before we got on, and I said, next time I come out to LA, because you got to be there with a member.
Yeah.
And he's a member. I'm going to do it.
And you have to dress up, which I love. I love that there's a dress code. Like they won't let you in the castle if you're like, looking.
Really? That's cool.
Flopping. Yeah.
That's going to work against me.
Well, just keep that in mind. Like, I think I was with my husband. Like, my husband looked really nice. And I think even when he went up to the door, they're like, can you button the top button? You know what I mean? Like, of his thing. And he's like they're strict.
Wow.
Okay. They're strict.
Yeah.
I might have to go to the back of the closet for that. Nice button-up shirt. Well, Lisa, we can't thank you enough for all the time. We found out a lot. I'm telling you, you have got quite the background and all of it very interesting stuff.
Good for you. That's amazing.
I'm going to send people to go look for the book and hit you up on Instagram and watch for all the big happening things going on in your world. So hopefully this pandemic ends and you're going to get going. And if you do launch a show that needs an overweight, semi-pro voiceover guy.
Cave dweller.
Yeah,
cave dweller.
Yeah, if you do anything in the cave world.
Well, you guys are both so sweet. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Take care and stay safe.
You too.
Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.